and she paid.
All three?
Fist bump.
What year was this?
This was right after I broke up. She was probably the first woman I dated after I broke up with that. I talk about a lot. I was dating that woman who was in the conversion program.
Yeah.
For 2 years.
Yeah.
And then we ended.
Yeah.
And she. I think this was the first woman I dated. So this was like 6 years ago. It was in the end of 2004.
AMC is pretty raunchy.
Well, you know what, dude? Tone it down.
Yeah.
Drop it down a notch. Okay.
He's one of your friends?
Yeah.
Close friend?
I never met him.
Okay.
Dial it down, dude. He's a good guy, though.
What did he say? What did he say?
What bracha do you make when you F a hooker?
Hey, oh, his jokes are terrible. Don't let him tell jokes in there. His jokes are god awful. Okay, the last
Yeah.
next thing.
Yeah.
Is it good? Oh, can I keep going?
Yeah, please.
Last week we were talking about that reform, the Dome on the Rock,
Yeah,
whatever
Stephen
it's
S.
called.
Wise,
What's it
yeah.
called? The
Stephen S. Wise.
Stephen S. Wise Temple, right?
Yeah.
And you said they keep kosher, but not strictly kosher.
Yeah.
And one of my friends on my Facebook
Said you're either kosher or you're not kosher.
yeah, what do you mean? It's black or white, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it was Manuel, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he said black or white. So I said let Levi answer because I don't know what you mean before I start answering his question. I want to know exactly what you meant, and I didn't take you to task for it at the time.
Right.
So this is your chance.
Okay, great. So I'll answer the question with a question. Are you an honest person? Or I'll ask myself, am I an honest person? I'll say, I'm an honest person, and you'll say, I'm an honest person.
Okay.
Have I ever told lies? Yeah, I've told lies. Have you ever told lies? I'm sure you've told lies in your life. But even though you haven't been perfectly honest in the entirety of your life, and even though I haven't been perfectly honest in the entirety of my life, I'd still say I'm basically an honest person. I'd say that you're basically an honest person.
Okay.
So these things aren't black or white. Like, am I a law-abiding citizen? Yeah, I'm a law-abiding citizen. Do I ever drive 56 miles an hour or faster in a 55-mile-an-hour zone? Yeah, I do sometimes. So there are some times that I do break the law, but basically I'm a law-abiding citizen.
So get to your point.
Well, same with Stephen S. Wise. They don't serve pork or shrimp or any of the forbidden meats at Stephen S. Wise. They serve kosher pastries when they have kiddush.
So in other words, they don't keep halachically kosher. Halachically, the kalim, and the vessels and stuff like that is not kosher, and therefore it would render all the food inedible halachically, right? So in a black and white world, it's not kosher. However, they only order that which is kosher, so it's not like blatant, like what happened in Cincinnati, and that was your point, where they wouldn't order shrimp or lobster.
Right.
They would only bring in food that was like...
Well, if they brought in pastries and they served them on paper plate, there's nothing not kosher there.
Right.
If there are no instruments touching them. And also, I'll give you another analogy. There's an Orthodox rabbi in Los Angeles who gets many of the treif restaurants to order kosher chicken and kosher meat. So even though these treifa restaurants are still
why would they want to do
restaurants,
that?
because it reduces the sin. It's
you mean
less
they're
of a
Jews?
sin. Yeah.
They're Jews who own these restaurants.
Yeah, and it's less of a sin.
Yeah, but they have to pay extra and the food is worse. I mean, the meat's worse.
And it's less of a sin.
Okay.
So there are gradations.
All right, so that was what you meant. You meant that they don't keep kosher, right? But they don't buy,
I mean, they kept a level of kosher. They don't, by Orthodox Jewish law, no, they don't keep kosher.
Right.
But we don't live just in a black and white universe. Just as if you ask, am I a law-abiding citizen? Yeah, I'm basically a law-abiding citizen, but sometimes I drive 57.
It's kosher style.
It's more than kosher style.
It's kosher style. It's not halachically kosher, but it's not offensively
Well, sometimes
treif,
it may be halachically
but
kosher.
it might be by accident. But they don't go out of their way to try to be kosher. Because the idea of keeping kosher is that you go out of your way and you break yourself to try to maintain.
They believe they're keeping kosher, and they believe they're going out of their way to keep kosher.
Which I would give.
Orthodox Jewish law, it's not kosher.
But I would give them this, and that it's a lot better than what I was complaining about that went down in that, and it was portrayed in that show we were talking about. Right. Okay. Now I'm going to handle some questions from the audience. Let's see who's in there. Brig Noni, remember that one? That was Brandon's friend, hey, how's it going? Bring that thing down so I can see who else is in there, please. Not that.
God wanted Moses to speak to Paro. God can make a stick turn into a snake. Couldn't he cure Moses' lisp?
He didn't want to.
He didn't want to. Okay.
Okay, who else is in there?
Greg. Oh, the only new one is Brignoni.
Okay. Well, okay, so Bubba Metzia asked a question last time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to answer it now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said that when the Jews were in Mitzrayim, they were saved based that they kept 4 things. Remember what they were?
They kept their Jewish names, they spoke Jewish, they dressed Jewish, and they didn't bang shiksas.
Right. That's what they are. That's what they're for. So the thing was, they spoke Jewish, right? And then I said, we spoke Yiddish in Goshen, and he made a point, wait a minute, we didn't speak Yiddish in Goshen, right? Well, I didn't mean Yiddish, what you might call today. Yiddish in Yiddish is translated as Jewish. We spoke Jewish. If we had known the language Yiddish back then, we'd speak that. But we didn't have that yet, because we hadn't been to Germany.
Yeah.
But we spoke whatever Jewish language we had at the time, which was probably just Hebrew. But that, the point was that we kept our own language. Leslie, she's in there?
Yeah.
Okay, hey Leslie. She says, I'm reading from the chat transcripts from last week. She said, okay, is it because the Jews became a nation at Mount Sinai? Abraham was the first Jew, but the Jews became a nation at Mount Sinai. So let me just get through that. Let me just clarify that for everybody. It seemed like there was some confusion. Abraham Avinu, Abraham was the first Jew. Say that.
Abraham was the first Jew.
Okay, you learned something since last week.
I didn't learn anything, it's just not language I normally use.
Okay. He was the first Jew. That's when our family lineage goes back to. We don't go back to the apes. We start with Abraham. That's the first Jew. The Jewish nation, the Jews as a nation happened when we came out of Egypt. That was the whole giving birth. That's why the sea of reeds split and the Jews marched through it. It was as if we were coming through the birth canal.
Yeah.
So the birth of a nation. I think there's a famous movie by that name.
Yeah.
Right? We walked through the birth canal, if you will, and we came out the other end and we were born. That was as a Jewish nation, that occurred when we came out of Egypt, and there was one more thing left to do, and that was Mount Sinai when we got the Torah, and that's when we, as a nation, became married to God. And that's why he held the mountain over our head. It was like a canopy, if you will, and that was our marriage to God. So the Jewish people and Kadosh Baruch Hu became one. The Jewish people and God became one at Mount Sinai, but we were already a nation when we came out of Egypt 40-something days earlier, and we were Jews, if you will, individuals, going back to Abraham. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I'm going to assume that makes sense to Leslie. Ask her if she understands that a little better now.
Leslie, did you understand
No, I
that
mean,
a little better?
check in to see if she says... All right, your turn to talk. What do you want to talk about?
So, should a Beit Din provide an avenue for appeal?
Should a Beit Din... Should there be appellate courts?
Yeah.
You want to know something? I'm not the guy to ask. I'll tell you what. I don't know Dionys, and I'll be honest. I don't know this stuff. Here's how it works in the rabbi world. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's to make a parallel between like rabbis in the Jewish in the Torah world and doctors in the medical world, medical science. I'm a rabbi, but I'm a dermatologist. Okay, what you need is a brain surgeon right now. I don't know these halachos at all. I don't want to just say the wrong thing. And that's the difference between me and somebody who'll just give you the wrong answer out of their ass. I'm not going to do it. I don't know Dionys. I can put you in charge with a guy who sits on a Beit Din, but I don't think you respect that guy. Because you trashed him on your blog. I don't even want to comment on that whole thing. I want to stay out of that. I know every party involved. I know the lawyers, I know the rabbis, I know the guys sitting on the Beit Din, and I know the litigants. I know everybody, and I just don't really want to comment on any of it.
Whoa, Cuddly Bunny's in the room.
Cuddly Bunny?
Cuddly Bunny, though, used to be known as Brock.